Well, I just wanted to just ask some questions. I've watched several of your interviews, and the questions I'm really interested in is your balancing of identity. So my film AlaskaLand deals with this young Nigerian Alaskan and how he balances those kind of polar opposites. And so I know that you have these kind of multiple identity, these multiple kind of cultural backgrounds, and I just wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about that. So I guess first off, what was it like growing up in Nigeria for you?
Well, it had its positive aspects and negative aspects. Growing up then, I was not too conscious of, how do I put it? I was not as conscious as I am now of all that I had to go through as a kid. Growing up was it was tough. It was tough, especially during the times where we had, war or tribal conflict, or where we had oil scarcity. I grew up in Warri, which is the oil city of Nigeria, they say. And Warri has its beautiful sides. It has a couple of different tribes living in one region. You have the Ijo, you have the Shekiri, you have the Urobo. So there's a lot of conflict amongst these tribes, and then of course a couple of Igbo people. I am actually not from Warri. I'm from Anambra State, but my father moved to Warri a long time ago, so I was born in Warri. Hence, I claim the Warriness. But originally, I'm Igbo. Yeah, from Anambra State.
I'm Igbo.
You're from which area?
I'm from Imo.
Imo State. Yeah, but all the same.
It's all
now.
the same.
Yeah. So yeah, it was everything. It was colorful. Sometimes we did have good times. But most of the time, we had a lot of these conflicts and that is actually one of the reasons why I have become an advocate for, peace in the Niger Delta, and I talk a lot about these issues and raise awareness and try to bring light upon these issues and see how fellow Nigerians outside the Niger Delta and abroad or in diaspora can connect or help out,
Yeah, so did you leave Nigeria often when you were growing up?
No.
Oh, okay.
I grew up with in a polygamous family. I didn't grow up with my biological mother, so that was one of the reasons why I didn't have the, free ticket to go abroad, like many other mixed kids. I didn't leave Nigeria at all. I was stuck in the Niger Delta, stuck in Warri, stuck using public transport and going by foot, stuck there for a while, until I was, I think, 19 years old. Wow. That was my first trip outside, 16. 16 was my first trip outside Warri, out of Warri, where I visited Lagos. And Lagos was, to me, I had never seen Lagos before that. It was like New York, like my first time in New York. Was amazing. Lights, proper street lights, people obey traffic signs. I mean, not always, but more than in our area.
More than it's not saying much, though. Not saying much.
They didn't have that much lack of electricity like in the Niger Delta, despite the fact there is a lack of electricity. And then, of course, from Lagos to Germany, I was in Germany for about a month and a half, and then deported more or less back to Nigeria. That was my first taste of being outside or eating from the apple of Eden, like I always say.
When was the first time you came to the States?
First time in the States was 2009.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So growing up, what was your perception of the Western world, not just America, but even just Europe?
To be honest with you, it would sound really, really awkward, but I had the impression that everything that is non-African is immaculate, is shiny, is peaceful, is white, and, you know, different. It's peaceful. I think it's the peace that attracted me more. But then I understood, when I traveled, I understood all that glitters is not gold. I understood that everything that the media, you know, made me believe, or basically other fellow Nigerians would, you grew up with that mentality that, you know, you need to go abroad to understand your identity, to understand who you are. You need to travel. I mean, it's good to travel if you have that opportunity, but for you to lose yourself, to find yourself, it's also good. But if you get lost in the process and just lose it completely, then it couldn't be good for you, and it couldn't be good for your country, you know. And I think that is what is happening to many Africans. You know, you go out and you lose it completely. You lose touch to who you used to be, or who you think, or who you actually should be. You know, yeah, traveling and then getting to Germany, having to be in this surrounding of where, you know, you it's a different mentality. People are you know, triggered by different things, different than what you are used to. And then, of course, experiencing racism or prejudice for the first time, understanding that I actually have color. I mean, in Nigeria, they call you Obobo sometimes, or they call you yellow, or Ghana, they will call you Obroni, but it was never a derogatory term. It was not like a derogatory way that people didn't mean it in a negative way. But then abroad and in Germany, I mean, I did have my encounters with, you know, I would say racism and prejudice, and of course also at the university, having to deal with professors that would, for instance, would not want to sign your dissertation because they think you're better off not studying and going into music or becoming a basketball player. You know, there's some ways that people or professors would talk to you at times where you understand the message implicitly inside what the person is saying. He wouldn't say it directly to you, and that happens a lot in Europe, you know. So that also forced me to become a rebel, grow my afro, and go more into, you know, educate myself more, be more concerned, and, you know, about myself as a Nigerian, and to be proud of it, not to fake my accent, not to do like if I'm an American, because I'm not to wear the baggy pants. I wore baggy pants for like, I mean, I love baggy pants, but just, you know, the swag of an American, just to not be called a Nigerian. It's crazy what you do, you know, just to be at peace with the world, you know, how much you fake and wear a mask, you know. And then in the end, I just got tired and I said, no, I want to be proud of where I'm from, and also show the world that, you know, also positive things can come out of Africa.
Yes, and it's great hearing you say that, because as someone who grew up in the States, right, every time I would go back home, you know, it was like people like put me on this pedestal, like I came back home, but I was longing to be in their position, you know, have the Nigerian accent, you know, because even when I speak Igbo, you know, not everybody would understand me because of my American accent, you know. I wish that I would have went to school over there, you know, so it was interesting like that. They wanted what I have, I wanted what they have. And I mean, what the film is about, and what I think that a lot of people who will be coming to your concert tonight, who also support the film, are going through, it's like we're in this in-between space, you know, and it's maddening. Maddening. So do you have any advice, any kind of words for people, for many people who are in this kind of in-between space, not just Nigerians, not just Africans, but how to cope with it, or how to just really just embrace themselves.
Yeah, that's it. Embrace yourself. There was a time where, when I spent more time in Germany, I understood the other half of me. As in, I understood the white side, more or less, of me. At first, I hated it because of all the experiences that I had to go through. And then I traveled back to Nigeria. I moved back to Nigeria. And there, people started calling me these names that they call you, Oyibo or Obobo or Yellow Yellow. And then I noticed that I got angry and aggressive. I didn't know how to react to those type of, when people would call me those kind of names. I lost my balance. When I was growing up, those things didn't disturb me. And then I had to stop and just accept that I am blessed. To be of both origin is a blessing. Plus, to have that opportunity to travel. Many people who do not see or do not come out of their, I would say, that ball that you're forced to live in, or that, they're very narrow-minded, and that is something that's a lot, many Nigerians have that narrow-minded way of thinking. And I'm glad that, by traveling, I kind of became more outgoing towards other cultures, other people, embracing not just only my origin, my heritage, but also other cultures. I'm picking up also from other, from these other cultures, and being inspired to do my music. It's not just Nigeria that inspires me. It's not just Germany, but traveling all over the place. And I think I've reached a place where it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it sounds very easy. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. You are human, plus you have a heart, you have a conscience, and everybody has that, regardless of the color of your skin.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
It's easily said, and people go through a lot of negative things, but
it's very painful.
Yes, but you just have to be at peace with yourself.
Absolutely.
And also, when you think in a certain way, if you think you're inferior, for instance, you attract that energy. You attract people who treat you inferior. And that's another thing that I had to also learn. NNEKA, the way you think, if you think you're different, people will treat you different. So it has a lot to do with your mind and the kind of energy you attract towards yourself. Because he's like a magnet, So you have to free your mind from that as well.
Well done. No, this is great. This is, and for you to be a Nigerian woman who is saying this, it's affirming for me. It's affirming for me. But thank you. Thank you for everything.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
And guys, check out the movie, a film by CHINONYE CHUKWU.
AlaskaLand.
AlaskaLand, exactly, AlaskaLand. So check it out, be inspired.